One, it is Wealth Wellness Wednesday on this second full week of 2022. Actually, 2023. Oops, that was an oopsies. Good morning, everyone. Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss, live with two and drinking my water.
So say good morning, everyone. This is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. Yes, how many people are still writing 2022? I think the first few weeks and maybe even the first month, you kind of have to like segue into it. But isn't it interesting on this Wealth Wellness Wednesday? Of course, I just have to say it. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Okay, so two top news stories, in my opinion. Of course, the FAA, there's something going on with their outage.
Fingers crossed that gets fixed, is flying out. So, you know.
Exactly. And then, of course, I'm just going to say, well, technically two words, classified versus declassified. And I think you all may know what I'm talking about.
Isn't it a national security? And I'm saying that for obvious reasons. You know, it's funny, they were doing, you know, sometimes when you get on, like whether it's a comedy show, a news highlight, whatever, they will do a culmination of, you know, maybe a tagline. It's something that, you know, is repeated. I think that was one of the things that we learned over the last few years. Origination on taglines, headlines, and or, you know, reporting what they were reporting, they need new material. You know, when you have every major network repeating the same tagline or mantra or a little news bleep. So yesterday, I was running around, busy day, still celebrating my birthday. It's happening in a month, people. You're just going to have to deal with the post. It just is. But anywho, I happened to walk into the room and there was this repeat of the news when a certain past president was raided, and the narrative, and the narrative was a security. This is a national security, referring to papers, and they all had the exact same. And we noticed that, whether it had to do with masks, whether it had to do with vaccines, whether it had to do with the pandemic, and of course anything to do with 45, they repeat the same verbiage. People, you need to come up with some new, I don't know who's writing, I'm not sure who's writing your dialogue, but you really got to get to either some new writers, some origination. But anyways, they did this culmination of all these reporters with the same, you know, like attack on 45 regarding national, this is a national security issue. And so they go through it. I'm not, there was probably over 30 or 40 that I saw. And then they go, the next lead in is reporters actually now trying to ask questions to current House members as they were leaving a meeting, and senators and whatnot. And so what do you think of what was discovered? Nothing. Nothing. And then so they, you know, they all agreed it's like, you know, although one did say, well, it was referred, so we don't really know too much. And then they ended it with Nancy Pelosi's very strong speech warning 45 that he was not above the law. And the thing that she said was interesting is she first comes out and says, no president, you know, is going to be, you know, being above the law and or have this national security type issue. And then she went after she said, you know, basically all presidents, and she refers to Trump. And that was back in August. So I'm wondering why no one from their team has come out and kind of reiterated the verbiage. And they haven't quite, I've noticed they haven't quite got on the same page as to what their next little gimmick is going to be. So I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah,
well, here's my perspective on it. And it doesn't matter really what party you're from. And I know I always say that, but it doesn't. What I heard yesterday were obviously a lot of things in this morning. However, the number of documents from this to 45, but what the whole thing that they're missing is that what's happening with the current person at 1600. At the time, he was a vice president. For those of you who are not aware, only a president under our, I believe it's the Constitution, has the authority to declassify, not a vice president.
And why were they were supposedly stuffed in a closet or something?
Yeah, at the Penn Biden Center, where his think tank, really. So,
and the bottom line is, truth be told, they could have inadvertently got in there mixed up, just like, you know, people besides the official people are actually packing up these boxes. So where's the latitude for that? You didn't give him, you know, they gave Trump the latitude, but now all of a sudden the latitude is made for the current. The other news piece that really caught my eye is the sweeping and the cleaning of the streets that
in I think it's El Paso, right? Yeah.
all of a sudden, like, you didn't see anybody, and the news cameras have been there all along, and it's wall-to-wall people trying to get in. So all of a sudden, I don't know how they cleaned them up and got them out of there, but they did somehow. Nothing like, you know, painting a picture of false information, lies, deceit, and to deceit. The end result is to deceit the American people in the world.
And the other very sad part of that is this one gentleman who was from one of those, I want to say rescue organizations, you know, that they help, you know, people, of course. The donations of clothes and water and all sorts of stuff was being thrown away.
Yeah.
Such a travesty on all fronts. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it sure is, and I think, you know, people are just over on some good news, because it is Wealth Wellness Wednesday. We want to make sure we have good news, because this is the day we talk about, you know, having that healthy relationship with money, finances, paying it forward, helping other people. Is the Congress, the first thing that they passed was to rescind some 87,000 people that.
Yes, but the thing with that, which I didn't understand, is obviously it's got to go through the Senate, but that somebody is not going to sign it.
Well, of course they're not. We know that. And that's part of, you know, the Congress does one thing, it passes to the Senate. They're supposed to work together. But they jointly have agreed on a committee regarding China. I'm saying it that way for a reason.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So there's some bipartisan, that's awesome stuff. But the point being is, this is what Congress said they were going to do. Let's get to business. They've united, they've come together, and everything they talked about so far, they're going in that direction, and or they started the day off that way. So kudos to them. We know it's got to go through the Senate, and then you have all the nonsense. Because there are a lot of people on either side that are just don't use common sense and are not fighting for we the people. They're not fighting for their constituents, and they're not doing what they told their constituents they were going to do in the first place. So you got that going on. But the point being that they were, you know, understanding that, and, you know, that this omnibus bill, you know, of 1.7 trillion, whatever the heck, 4,000 pages, you know, conveniently gets voted in like 10 days before, you know, the new Congress is there. So, I mean, they're going to obviously pick apart some of those things, which they should, because somebody in their right mind has got to have some common sense and value their oath that to their constituents that they were going to do these things, you know, at some point.
Yeah. And what I question about that is the people that voted for it. How can you vote on it with a good conscience when you apparently received it at 1:30 in the morning, 4,000 pages or whatever, and you're going to read it by the time you vote?
Right. And I think that I love one of the new things that they're going to be introducing in Congress, that they're not going to do that. There's like a 72-hour window, which is common sense. It's not, you know, one side wants to do it. It's common sense to make sure that you're well abreast of a situation, that you're educated in what you are actually voting on. I don't see why people would even have an inkling on that. I mean, Do you buy a house without looking, at what the bank is going to tell you what you owe and your fees and all that? Do you decide to, hire a contractor without reviewing what he's actually building for you before you hand over money? Do you go into a meeting that your company has hired you to make sure that you're well prepared and abreast of whatever situation that you're negotiating and or discussing? I mean, it's common sense things. So it's not, government's a business, and a lot of people forget that. Yes, it's politicians, and sadly, a lot of politicians have no flipping business background, and that's why a business background. And a lot of them are just, attorneys. Well, not all attorneys are really good at what they do. They may be good from a law perspective, but maybe they suck from a business perspective. You got to have people there with some business sense. Period.
Amen to that.
So, what else? Now, we had a great guest on yesterday. We got some great feedback on really understanding and learning about, the triggers of IBS. Some triggers are not obvious ones that people would typically think about, right? Obviously we would automatically think of food. That would be the obvious one. But knowing that, don't just, negate eating these good foods, because a lot of it's good food that's maybe causing you to be bloated, gassy, and all that other stuff, and have those stomach cramps and those issues. So she did a wonderful job kind of explaining all that. Journaling, like we always say, journaling on all aspects of your life, whether it's your health, your wellness, your mindset, really writing down your goals, what you're going to do, your budget, what things you want to do around your home. Like, journaling on all aspects of your life are so important. And as we both agree, we prefer the method of pen to paper, because when you're going from pen to paper, it's going really from head, pen, paper. It registers more. I truly believe. That's my opinion.
Well, yeah, it's kind of, think of that little exercise when we were kids: head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. It reminds me of that, because, you're encompassing all that and it's coming through on the paper. And speaking of paper and writing, I've noticed that my handwriting is getting a little messier. I'm not as neat as I used to be.
Well, funny that you say that, because I've been obviously writing out thank you cards left and right. And I like to write thank you cards out to people when they, do something thoughtful for me. And, I was noticing that. I'm like, why is my hand not as neat and tidy as it used to be? But I guess, and it's almost because I don't think I write enough, because it almost felt like it was crampy. I don't know. Does anyone out there, one of our viewers or listeners, does your hand get crampy when it writes? That's what I was finding. And I think it's lack of writing. And even though I journal a lot, I'm finding that I'm kind of printing a little bit more. And I know you do a lot of printing.
I have
I don't normally print. I normally like to write, but I'm reverting for some reason to printing, or it's a combination of printing and writing. So sometimes when I go back to review, I'm like, what the heck was I writing? I don't even understand my own gibberish.
Well, and that's so funny, because I often think of Jetty and Ray Ray, and somebody said something about cursive writing the other day, and I said, well, I don't know how to cursive write, and the only thing I can cursive write is my signature, which isn't really cursive writing. And they kind of looked at me and they said, well, how, that doesn't make sense, because that's what they were teaching, way back when. I said, well, I guess I had some kind of learning disability. And I remember being in the parent teacher thing with mommy, and she said, look, she can't cursive write, so let her do her homework, print it out. She still has to do her homework. So
right. We were lucky that we were blessed with a mom that would fight for us, just go in there and what do you got my kid doing? She was a force to be reckoned with. But she had beautiful penmanship. And actually, our oldest sister has very similar penmanship to our mom. And then I think I would be third in that. Fran and Vic, not so much. But I would think in you, you just, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, well, and right. And speaking of Fran, if Fran doesn't know how to write, he doesn't even know how to spell my name half the time.
Yes, I know. Can you believe that? A sibling doesn't know how to spell it.
He spells it Jannis. And I'm like, where have you been for? I don't get it, but whatever.
However, yeah. I mean, that's the point. Like, I don't know. Some people do. I still have a lot of people that spell my name right. I don't really get as kooky as I used to about it. Just it's a different spelling, 2 R's, 2 L's, it's hyphenated. And then, where did the hyphenation come from? We don't really know. It just kind of happened that way. And actually, I think it's a baptismal certificate, or I have some certificate where my name is actually, it says Susan Carroll. And then somehow, then I got reverted to Carroll. So I don't know. It is what it is. Legally, over the years, it's always been hyphenated. So that's what I go with,
Yeah.
I'm not having the other crazy thing I heard about, you're not gonna believe this. You are so not, I get these messages. Obviously, I'm still very much involved with what's going on in school systems, fighting for children's rights. I will never stop doing that. And I have to share with you, just bear with me 1 second. I was like, what the heck? So apparently, the other 2 things regarding the current person occupying the people's house, he wants to ban gas
stoves. All right.
And I loved it when, who was it? Judge Janine. Don't be telling me how I'm going to be running my kitchen. Like, she was fit to be tired. I loved it. All right. M&Ms has a whole new female package for M&Ms. It's all identified with women status, supporting flipping women statuses. And yeah. And they're all like purple. I mean, I'm sure you like the purple, brown, and green. So someone joked, so somebody had said in this group, but what if animated chocolate candies I don't identify as a female? That was one of the questions that came up with. Someone said, wait for the yellow for transgender. Something's coming soon for that. Woke and broke. Why can't candy just be candy? Why does it have to identify with anything? And then someone said something about, if it identifies with nuts, is it a drag king? It's like dying.
I have no adequate words that I would be able to share live.
If you don't have a sense of humor with some of this craziness, people, you won't get through it. And that's part of, like, everyone's, this is a serious situation. Yes, it is. I agree with you. But at some point, because there's no common sense thought into this, shame on M&M Mars, you a bunch of Stunods, number one. You have to laugh at that because, these are the things that make up comedy skits, and, let's face it, the nighttime comedy shows are hurting, but boy, these woke companies are definitely giving them some subject matters to.
Yeah, and by the way, I think we should give a weekly Stunod Award.
Yeah, we did. So all right, well, we can start. We can make that Stunod Award. So what day should we do it on? What does our listeners and viewers think? When should we give out to me, because a Stunod Award is kind of something funny too. I don't know, maybe that might be something from Fantabulous Friday. Sometimes we have to triumph over these crazy ideas. It could be part of Triumph Tuesday. Wealth Wellness, is it good for your health? Does it add humor? Could be on Monday Mindset, how cuckoo some people are. We can go with this in a lot of directions.
Oh, we sure can. And maybe when the spirit moves us. Oh my God. Ay.
Yeah, female M&Ms. Yeah, I was like, and how do you know this? What makes it female? Does it have ovary?
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is crazy. Wealth Wellness Wednesday. This is a day that we pay it forward with kindness. Today we're giving you a lot more humor, but I think that's kind of kind because we need humor to get through this craziness. I did get an alert that they're trying to get the air FAA back up around between 9 and 10 a.m. I feel bad for the people that are flying around up there. So we are wishing them good wealth and wellness Wednesday, because that's got to be a little stressful when you're, sorry, folks, we've been ordered by the FAA to keep circling. And what are they telling people?
Well, and interesting that you said that, because now I was in the kitchen cleaning up from our little breakfast thing, and all of a sudden I heard someone say, well, what did they do with the planes that are still in the air? And I'm like, well, duh, they have to land, of course.
Eventually, yeah, but I guess right now they're not. They're circling.
Well, they're gonna have to land sometime.
Right, they will, but from what I understand, the piece of the computer system that's kind of defunct, I think has to do with, I could have sworn, and I could be wrong, but I could have sworn I heard they say it's something to do with the landing. So they grounded everybody until they, who knows? I don't know. I thought that's what I heard. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm imagining, because the last report was like there was 894 flights in the air. I'm
Now,
like, well,
one of those people on the flights, you know how sometimes, like, I think JetBlue has them where you can watch live TV, and you're watching this on live TV. Well, it can't land the planes.
I know, like, yeah, and, you know, and then you have, of course, the crazy tweets that are coming out from that are people that are already at the airport. Boy, I hope I get to Disney, which I understand, you know, that's important. I mean, nobody wants to be delayed.
Oh yeah.
Make sure there's some safety measures put in place, that the craziness that's already going on, let's get that resolved first. Let's not just be self-centered about what we need and what we want, and let's, you know, pray that it gets fixed, that everyone is safe and is landed, because, you know, I can only imagine, you know, some people are not good flyers to begin with. So if they're, you know, circling around, that's a very uncomfortable situation for a lot of people. So my hearts and prayers go out to all of them. We wish them safety, of course, and patience and kindness. You need it in that kind of a situation, because you just, you know, the person, you may get to know the person next to you a little bit more than you want to know them. One time I was on a bumpy flight, and the woman just like grabbed my hand, and like she was grabbing it so tight. I didn't, you know, at first it startled me, but I thought, this poor woman is freaking out, and okay, use me as a cushion or whatever, or in this case of, I don't know what, she was squeezing me so tight. And so I looked at her, I said, do I have a pulse? And she goes, oh my God, you're so funny, because I was just trying to lighten her mood, because I mean, I was a little nervous too, but you know, you just never know. So humor, some kindness, that's what Wealth Wellness is all about, but it's also about paying an unsuspecting person, giving them a gift of gratitude, of a financial exchange that they don't know about. And it's not about the monetary amount. It's just about changing the direction of their day. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're at the gas station, they're a little short cash. Maybe they get to the coffee line and they forgot their wallet. How many people have done that? I know a lot of people do that. Or, you know, a lot of people don't carry cash anymore. They carry a credit card, and, you know, you're in line, and, you know, you've got like 30 people behind you, and oops, I don't have my card on me, and I don't have any cash on me. Or, you know, some places don't take credit cards, or vice versa, cash. So, you know, so whatever it may be, maybe you're helping to defray the cost of, you know, the gallon of gasoline, or diapers, or formula, or cat food, or heck, how about eggs? I heard a funny thing today. Everyone, you better start stocking up on potatoes, because you may be coloring potatoes instead of eggs.
Let's start banning those. But anyways, on that note, Wealth Wellness Wednesday, you know, go to our website. Let us know your different acts, if you will, of what, you know, Wealth Wellness Wednesday, what you have done. Let us know if you're traveling, like, and if you have a question, or, you know, maybe you want to nominate somebody for the Stunod Awards, go to our website, www.TwoSistas.online. My name is Janice, still with a bad hair day. And I am with TwoSistas,
and this is Carol, so AKA Naughty Boss, side ponytail, getting ready for some pickleball. And yeah, it's Wealth Wellness Wednesday. Don't forget, people, let's have, pay it forward, gratitude, grateful hearts, sense of humor, gotta have a sense of humor in life. Because you know what, this is the life we are on, and sometimes we have to make our own happy and our own shits and giggles. So we hope we provided that today for you. Yeah, a lot of stuff happening. We will see you tomorrow for Trending Thursday. We will actually be on tomorrow morning because we hope that the airlines are more, well, actually, it's not the airlines. We hope that everything's smooth sailing with the FAA. With that, you have a great day, guys. Chat with you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.